Okay, everybody, we're going to learn about polynomial division and synthetic division in this lesson, and we'll cover polynomial division first. Polynomial division works exactly like regular number division. You have a dividend being divided by a divisor, and your answer will be a quotient. And if your divisor is not a factor of your dividend, then you'll also have a remainder. So let's set this up. I've got x minus 4 being divided into 5x squared minus 17x minus 12. Now we're only going to be working with the lead terms of our polynomials, and everything else is just going to follow along. So I have to ask myself, what do I multiply x by to give me 5x squared? And of course the answer is 5x. So 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 4 is negative 20x. This next step is where 90% of mistakes are made. You're going to subtract this entire result right here. 5x squared minus 5x squared, of course, is 0. We planned for that to happen. Negative 17x minus a negative 20x is plus 3x. Bring down what's left, in this case minus 12. And I ask myself, what do I multiply x by to give me 3x? And of course the answer is 3. So I have 3x, and then 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. And we get no remainder. So that means that x minus 4 is a factor of 5x12 minus 17x. 5x squared minus 17x minus 12. Okay, so this brings up what we call the division algorithm. And what does it say? It says that a polynomial is equal to the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. And we can rewrite this as f of x divided by d of x is equal to the quotient plus the remainder divided by the divisor. So if I'm starting with a division expression, a rational expression, I can rewrite it as a quotient plus a remainder over the divisor. Now I chose this problem because I wanted to show you what happens when you have missing terms. Notice that we have an x cubed and then no x squared and no x term and then a constant. You've got to fill in that missing x squared and missing x term. Same thing with your divisor over here. We don't have an x term, so we have to fill that in. So here's how we have to write it. X squared plus 0x plus 1 is going to divide into x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 9. If we don't fill in those terms, then it's going to be a real mess because we won't have things to subtract from. All right, so once again we ask ourselves, what do I multiply x squared by to give me x cubed? And the answer is 1x. X squared times x is x cubed. 0x times x is 0x squared. You see how everything lines up all nice? And then 1 times x is 1x. We're subtracting, so I get no x cubes, no x squareds, and I get a negative 1x. Bring down the negative 9. Now what do I multiply x squared by to get negative x? Well, I can't do that, so that means this is our remainder. So I'm going to write my answer as the quotient plus the remainder all over the divisor. You know you have your remainder when the degree of what's left is less than the degree of your divisor. Now I've got a negative x minus 9, so I'd probably write my answer as x minus x plus 9 over x squared plus 1. And that is equal to our original problem. So you can see how the division algorithm works. The dividend over the divisor is equal to the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. Okay, so let's talk about synthetic division. This is just a quick and short way to do polynomial long division, but it has some limitations. You can only do it with a divisor of degree 1. If you have an x squared here or an x cubed, you can't do synthetic division. And once again, if you've got missing terms, don't forget to fill them in. All right, here's how it works. In the upper left corner, you're going to put a little half box up there. Then you go to your divisor, and this is x plus 2. In the box, I'm going to put the opposite of what that number is. In this case, it'll be negative 2. Then, in a row out here, I only list the coefficients, filling in the missing terms. So I have a 5, a 0x squared, a 6x, and an 8. I skip a line, then I draw a bar. I bring down the first coefficient. And from this point on, girls, it's all multiplying and adding all the way to the end. So I go negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. There's my multiplication. I add 0 and negative 10 is negative 10. I multiply. Negative 2 times negative 10 is positive 20. I add 26. I multiply. Negative 2 times 26 is negative 52. And then I add negative 44. Okay, this last number is your remainder, and this is your quotient, and it is always 1 degree less than what your dividend was. So my final answer is 5x squared minus 10x plus 26 minus 44 over x plus 2. Let's do one more example. Well, I guess we won't. Here's your homework assignment, guys, and I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.